Hello, and welcome to Law Talk. My name is John Celebrezze, and I'm the co-founder of the Celebrezze-Zangi Community Legal Education Project, as we call it, CZ-CLEP for short. Our organization provides continuing education about the judiciary and legislature to attorneys, judges, government officials, and the general public. As a career educator, I recognize early on how important legal matters are and how they impact our lives. I am the nephew of the late Anthony J. Celebrezze, who was the popular 5-term mayor of Cleveland and a member of President Kennedy's cabinets. As a tribute to his lifetime commitment to the legal process, we dedicate this show.
John's special guest today is David Wadsworth. A Brunswick resident for 24 years, David was recently named Medina County Clerk of Courts. David is a member of the Ohio Clerk of Courts Association, Ohio Association of Court Administrators, and he is enrolled in the Ohio Supreme Court's Administrators Program, Class of 2013. He is also a member of the Medina County Investment Advisory Board, Records Commission, Data Board, Microfilm Board, and Hunger Task Force. A licensed realtor, David is married to wife Barbara, and they have 3 daughters.
David, welcome to Law Talk.
Thank you. I appreciate it, John. Thanks for having me here.
Well, I see a lot of you around the courthouse these days with, I guess it's a new job for you, right?
Yes. January 8th, I was sworn in and started my new job on January 10th of this year.
So you are our Clerk of Courts.
Yes. Kathy Fortney retired. She was a former Clerk of Courts.
Yeah, she was one of our guests. And okay, so how's the job going so far?
I think quite well.
Okay.
I judge that not by my own experience, but I talk to the judges.
Sure.
And I find out, what they think. And they're telling me pretty good things. And members of the bar, a lot of compliments. I think it's going quite well.
Well, you have a job, I guess there's a Clerk of Courts in all of our 88 counties. And one of the reasons I asked you on the show today is that I think a lot of people really don't know the depth of your duties. And I'm sure as you're working your way into your new job yourself, you're learning some things. So I wonder if you'd be so kind if you could just describe to our viewers the duties of the Medina County Clerk of Courts.
Well, do you have an hour?
Well, hit the highlights, Dave.
Yeah, it's quite a job. It's an exciting job, and it's a very involved job. We have courthouse operations, and then we have remote operations. Here at the courthouse, the Medina County Courthouse, we are the keepers of the record, as they say. And so, one of our duties is to run the archives. And we have records going back into the 1800s, back there, immigration, naturalization, records that genealogists come in frequently, to view.
I see.
Then we also, I like to phrase it as we're the business office of the court system. So we basically store. We take filings for many of the new cases. We're Court of Common Pleas, and we have a civil division. Civil protection orders, anything to do, with civil law would be filed there. Our people, create the cases and file them accordingly. We keep them ready, as they're needed by the judges and the attorneys to access. But we are in charge of the criminal division as well. And we have the Court of Appeals.
Wow.
Then we also have an office for the domestic relations.
Right.
We've located that upstairs in the court, closer to the domestic relations.
But that's actually under your auspices?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay.
So we're required.
So really, you work directly, indirectly for Judge Collier. Mm-hmm. All these judges, I'm pleased to say, have been on the show. Judge Kimbler, Judge Kovac.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're the keeper of the records for those 3 courts for sure, and lots of other things.
So those records, we have down in the first floor of our offices, we actually have vault doors, fire-rated vault doors,
I've seen 'em.
securing that room, and they get locked every night to maintain primarily the genealogy records.
see.
But we have records stored in the salt mines on microfilm, and
Wow.
we have literally we've run out of room. That's a big problem
Sure.
for storing cases. And
So when I, as an attorney, Dave, come down and always enjoy meeting your staff and filing motions and whatever, these records that even I'm producing now in the year 2011, they will be forever stored somewhere in Medina County?
that is the job.
I see.
That is my responsibility.
I see. So for our viewers, some genealogy buffs, that kind of would be an interesting place to visit sometime.
Definitely. And Penny down there, our archivist, would be more than happy to show them around.
Okay.
We have a lot of them on microfilm, and we've actually also taken a copy of that microfilm, a good deal of them, and taken them over to the main public library.
I see.
So it's available there as well.
Wow. The age of information.
Right.
Aside from the courthouse, though, Dave, is obviously where I personally see you a lot, but does your office are there other locations around the county?
Yes, a lot of people don't realize, that we are the title bureau.
Title
for Medina.
meaning automobile title?
Yeah, automobile, watercraft, titles of all vehicles.
I see.
Yeah.
So when you want to get your tags, that falls under your auspices?
No, the license bureau is next door in
Okay.
Medina.
I see.
We have 3 title offices. Okay, we have our main office off of North Court Street, just north of the square.
Okay.
About 3/4 of a mile. Where it's in the same building as MC Sporting
Yeah,
Goods.
yeah.
Okay, and that is the ideal location according to the state because we're a one-stop shop. We have our title services, and next door is the license bureau.
Oh, I
And-
see.
and
I
then
see.
the
That's
state-
why I thought. Okay.
And then the State Highway Patrol is right
But
next
you're
to
in
that.
charge of the title.
Right.
So I buy a new car or a used car even from my neighbor. We notarize my signature, and I come down to that location, and your staff will make me a new title and appropriately.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, we're
Same
tied
with
in.
if I did a boat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But not in the courthouse, but actually just right there on Court Street.
Yeah. And you can also get your passports there as well.
Wow. Okay.
It's kind of nice going to that location. I mean, we offer the passports at the main courthouse.
Yeah.
But at our title locations, well, in particular, the main title location on North Court Street, we have next door. You can have your photograph taken.
You're right there.
For the passport, and I recommend people stop in, pick up the forms, talk to our people. They'll explain what will need to be produced.
I see.
Take the forms home, and then come back when you have everything together, and they'll be glad to get you your passport right away. It's about a 4 to 6 week process.
I see. So you got a lot going on there. How many people on your staff altogether?
Including myself, there's 40.
Oh, well,
So yes,
sounds like there's plenty of work to keep all 40. And I will say this, I mean, you can take it as a compliment. As a practicing attorney, I interact with your staff on a pretty regular basis, and I always find them to be very, very pleasant people, and I enjoy working with them.
I do too. I really do. They're good people. They're hardworking. They know their jobs well.
Yeah, no, they're very customer service oriented, and I, for one, truly appreciate it. That's my one candid opinion. I'm sure they have a pretty good handle on, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, some of the things that they have to deal with and lawyers have to deal with are sometimes dealing with issues that are people at their lowest time, and that brings me to my next question to you. And we've talked about a lot of this. We've talked about this topic a lot on Law Talk, David, previous shows. But home foreclosures has got to be quite an issue. Your successor was on, or your predecessor, Kathy Fortney, was on the show, and we talked about it for a whole show one day, actually, matter of fact. But and Judge Kimbler as well. A real concern that the foreclosures are taking a pretty good chunk of the docket now. but I don't need specific numbers, but I'm fortunate enough to have you here today. Are we looking up, Dave, or are we looking down? How are we doing?
Well, right now, year to date, we are actually significantly down in the number of foreclosures filed.
Good.
Now, that isn't really a good snapshot of what's going on, though. You may have heard of robo-signing and various other issues going on with the banks and the federal government, looking carefully into the process, which has held up a lot of the foreclosures. And so basically a lot of foreclosures are, there's actually a glut of them sitting there getting ready to come our way. And we know that. Most of the attorneys are familiar, that deal in that.
So you're not seeing it as a true positive at this point in time?
Yeah, I really wouldn't. Really? I mean, I'd say we're down for now, but we know it's going to get busy again, and it may get more busy.
My other guests have talked candidly about it, and a real serious issue in a growing community like ours that was building. I guess actually your background, you are a realtor, aren't you?
I am a realtor since 2005. Yeah,
so I mean,
I've dealt with people that were losing their
both
houses
ways.
then.
Yeah, sure.
I've been on both sides of it, and it's gut wrenching. It's one of the worst things that people have to deal with.
I can believe that.
And so our people are dealing with people in that very tough situation, but up in domestic relations, they're really dealing with people going through tough times as well.
Yeah. Well, that's why I compliment you and your staff. I mean, these are tough things for everybody to deal with, but they're always willing to help. They're always willing to go the extra mile, and again, as one practicing attorney, I certainly appreciate it, and I know I speak for many of my colleagues.
Thank you.
David, we are in this age of information, sometimes even mind-boggling. If one of my viewers, not necessarily a lawyer, but if anybody wants to see the status of a common pleas case, could your office make that available to us via the internet?
Yes, absolutely. This is not something that I actually had responsibility for. My predecessor began putting these files online, and you can go to www.co.medina.
Yeah, we'll put that up on the screen.
.oh.us/clerk.
Okay. So by doing that, again, we'll put that up on the screen so the folks could see that. So that is going to get a viewer to your office.
Right.
Somehow we're going to see Dave Wadsworth, Clerk of Courts.
Right.
I believe then there's something that you click on that you have to approve to go to the next step.
Yeah, they want you to sign in.
Okay, that's very typical.
But
if I then know even the name of the case. I do this with my cases periodically, Smith versus Smith. I click, and there we go. So basically, I think what I hear you saying, this is work in progress every day. As an attorney, I come down and I file a motion at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
That night, if I click on, sometimes I could see the motion I filed.
Yeah.
I just hit view, and there it is. Okay, so the motion is asking the judge for something, and if he grants it later on, that will turn up on there as well. Okay, so basically, you don't have to be a lawyer. You could follow any criminal or civil case you want, as long as you know the names of the parties.
Well, I mean, we have also a lot of pro se litigants that do their own, that act as their own attorney.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess I never really thought about that, but in this day and age, economy not being as great as it maybe could be, I guess some folks have to go it alone.
Times are tough.
Well, again, one of the reasons we had you here was certainly the educational aspect of it, and all of what you do is there for all of us to see simply by going to your website there. So
yes, when a case comes in, they stamp it, time stamp it, take whatever filing fee, and then it goes right into the scanner.
I see.
And it goes right up online quite quickly that day, for sure. And so, that is, we pride ourselves. We get a lot of compliments. Our website isn't very elaborate or anything like that, but it
works.
It's easy to use. We get a lot of compliments on how quickly it loads and how quickly they can access it.
David, now that you brought that up, and I think sometimes credit where credit is due, and we all get a little spoiled. I practice primarily in Medina, but I do practice around the state. And I mean, I'm not going to malign the other clerk. I mean, I'm sure he's a wonderful man. But I just assumed, it was in the southern part of the state, I just assumed everybody did that. And I went to look, and they don't. And I really had sort of an important matter, so I called the clerk's office. A very nice lady. It was a very small county. And she said, no, we're in the process of doing that, but she says, I'll help you any way I can. She actually pulled the case. She faxed it to me, and it was a happy ending. But the difference being is that I had to do this during business hours, whereas with the Medina arrangement, what we've just talked about, anybody, I mean, I am an attorney, but anybody you can do this in the middle of the night if you want. And it's quite the convenience, and again, this age of information. So that is something that, I mean, I appreciate you didn't take credit for it, but during the era, if you will, that you are clerk of courts, that is a huge difference than maybe what we saw even 10 years ago. Think about it.
Yeah, my goal, I am technology oriented, and my background, in administration has been to bring new technologies in. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
We are constantly thinking of new ideas to put forms online, whatever it is that we can think of that you might need.
Sure.
To make your life easier and to make the public's life easier.
No, and your point about, I mean, I guess I never really thought about it, but pro se, I mean, people necessary to represent themselves, or at least wise know when their next hearing is going to be.
Right.
A lawsuit's filed, you immediately know that somebody has answered. It will come in the mail, but I mean, so that's great. I mean, that really
it's very straightforward. A few minutes of playing around with it, you could figure it out quite well.
Sure.
But it's important to remember, though, also, John, that the domestic relations cases are not posted on there.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I sort of deliberately didn't answer your question about it because I didn't know if it was a sensitive area or not. But that's not necessarily true in all counties, is it?
No, it's not.
I mean,
it's up to the judge.
So the decision maker there was Judge Kovac.
We deferred to Judge Kovac.
I see, and she would prefer not.
Yeah, she prefers not to, expose those sensitive documents to the public. Those documents are available to the public.
See that, and again, as you brought up earlier in the show, though, that's still your staff up there on that. Well, is it the first floor or it's
the second floor?
The second floor.
Yeah.
But it's right there by the domestic. But I mean, if you wanted to, see, we call them the green folders. If you wanted to see a folder on Smith versus Smith, they will give it to you and let you look at it, right?
Well, that's true, but we also have it all available on a computer in the courtroom, in the clerk's office. We have a computer dedicated with access to domestic relations.
So if I came to the clerk's office on the first floor, and
these are public records, so we have to provide access.
But the difference being, I can't, or a person couldn't do it over the internet per se. So it's sort of a closed circuit type thing where.
Right.
But you can see anything. Can you get copies? I mean, if somebody pulled up a case of domestic violence, is that,
absolutely.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Your staff will provide copies. So actually, it is actually being made available. The only difference is maybe not on the internet per se.
Right. It's public record, so you have to, provide access.
Sure.
You just don't have to provide it on the internet.
I see. Well, I mean,
and that's what Judge Mary has decided.
Very much respecting
the
judge's position on that. She does her job very well. I got another one for you. You mentioned it earlier. Is passports. How does this work? I mean, if a person wants a passport, they come to the clerk's office?
Yes, we do passports at the court office, but we don't have photography equipment there. But yeah, you go to the title bureau. So we have the title bureau in Medina.
All right, so you go in there, they're going to take your picture.
Actually, you're going to go next door, or you can go to your local drugstore.
But somehow your picture's got to come out.
Right. And
then what happens?
well, you know, what you want to do is, I usually like the approach for people to, you know, unless they're going to have everything in advance available, they can go onto our website, first of all, and see what they need. Everything's there to explains to them what they need to bring.
So what are some of the things they got to bring with them?
A driver's license, birth certificate.
Okay.
You know, you got to have proof of citizenship and identity proof.
So one of your staff is going to literally interact with somebody looking at these documents, filling out an application of some kind, or? Yes,
there's a variety of applications, but there's one general application that, you know, fits most people. But yes, there's going to be an application, and there's going to be also a how-to sheet that you can take home with you, or you can do it online and look at it online.
Okay.
And then you bring it in, you pay your fee. I think it's $110 plus $25 to the clerk of courts.
Okay.
And then we seal it, and we do send off your birth certificate.
Where do you send it to?
To the Passport Acceptance Agency.
Okay, this is some federal agent?
Yes.
See?
Yes, and you know, I had mine done this year as well.
Okay.
And I was a little nervous about mailing my birth certificate off. But they returned it in a separate envelope than the actual passport.
Okay, so a person walks in down the title bureau or your title office on Court Street, brings with them the appropriate information, as you said, they can get from the website we referred to.
Right.
Okay, your staff does the application. There's some money changes hands here. It's sent off. What are they doing with it? I mean, are they investigating this? Is the federal government investigating this person?
I would tell you that it is, I don't know if it's directly under Homeland Security, but you have to realize that there are people trying to get into our country and get out of there, you know, illegally.
Yeah.
And, you know, you look at what they call white slavery. You know, I mean, there is a tremendous amount of fraud and it's actually a first line of defense for our country. You know,
it starts with your office. You send it into the government agency. They do the appropriate investigating. Now, does it come back to you, Dave, or does it actually go back to the applicant?
It goes directly to the applicant.
Okay, start to finish, assuming no glitches, how long does this normally take?
It took me about 3.5 weeks. I thought it was pretty good, really.
Yeah, turned around
you know, they
pretty
tell you 4 to 6 weeks, and you know, we're going to be going into the high season because people taking their winter vacations and everything. So I do want to recommend to people that if you're interested in getting your passport, you stop into one of the 3 title bureaus. We have one in the Strand Theater in Wadsworth here.
Right here.
And then we have one in Town Center in Brunswick.
Okay.
And then, of course, our main office is right
on Court Street.
On Court Street.
Okay, so you're across the county. I mean, folks in where we're at right now, we're a stone's throw from the Strand. All right, so if you want a passport,
yeah, sooner the better. Sooner the better with the rush coming.
That is very interesting. I would bet you that there are a lot of our viewers who never really ever connected that to. Well, that's a good piece of information. Okay, all right. Shifting gears, small point, but I thought maybe it might be of some interest to our viewers. In this day and age when somebody doesn't pay somebody and they take them to court and they win, they get what's called a judgment lien. So we have this lien that says, yeah, Dave, you owe John, okay? All right, let's say I did happen, well, let's turn it around. John, you owe Dave, okay? All right, so in order for you to, what do you do with it? I mean, it's filed somewhere? I take it to your office.
Well, you know, we're going to file it with the case. You know, it's going to go in the case file. It'll be also put online as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So at the end of the process, if you won your judgment against me, it's going back to you. and there will be public information. And
Yes.
then whatever steps the guy wants to take to collect his money, it's
on
authorized by the judge, and it is on record. So
That's
that is
right.
what's called a judgment lien. Okay, Dave, just a couple more seconds here. The time has went really fast. So far, and I'm going to talk about budget, whatever you want to talk about. What's
Yeah.
what's the most challenging thing that you run into so far?
Well, I mean, one of the big things that we do is customer service is our mantra.
Yeah.
We get a lot of compliments on how, our customer service,
Absolutely.
how well people are treated. And so what we want to do is to maximize the customer service and, keep the expenses down.
Sure.
We've done a really pretty good job this year. I think we saved about $125,000. We're about 10% under budget.
Wow, that's great.
Generally, over in the License Bureau, we're down about 10% under budget, and somewhere around 9.4% in our court operations. So we're trying to save money. We're projecting it forward. We're going to save with our, reduce our budget about 15% for next year in our title operations.
But you still anticipate, even with that, you're going to be able to provide the services?
Yeah, I mean, we've done some technology improvements. For instance, we do about 15,000 certified mailings a year because everything has to be served.
Sure.
And we found a way. I found a way that we upgraded our Pitney Bowes machine,
Great.
our mail machine, and now when you sign for a certified mail, you do it on a tablet.
I see.
That allows us to do it electronically. Saves about $1.70 a unit. So
There you go.
it's money in the bank.
Absolutely.
We've also shopped out our banking, and we're saving approximately $2,000 a month on our banking.
That's great, Dave.
Yeah, we're trying
So-
to save money for the county because of the economy
Sure.
right now, and they need the help.
Well, I mean, I guess that's what we all have to do during these times, but if you're able to do that by thinking it through and still maintaining the morale of the people you've got there, I think that's great. Well, I think our time has come to an end, Dave. I want to obviously thank you for being my guest in Law Talk. You've raised several issues today, passports being one of them, that I think are very interesting, and to myself and to the viewers. I want you to know that there's a standing invitation. I mean, it sounds to me like you're digging into your new job, and we'll be continuing to do so. You're always welcome to come back if you have a new program or something you would want to tell our folks about. By all means, come back.
Yeah, hopefully we can do electronic filing.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
That's what we're looking at right now.
Well, thank you, David.
Comments made by John's guest on Law Talk are solely those of his guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of Celebrezze Zangi Community Legal Education Project. To view this show and others, go to www.czclep.org. In the Wadsworth area, a complete listing of dates and times of this broadcast, tune in to WCTV Channel 15 or log on to wadsworthcity.com and follow the links to WCTV.
At CZ we're devoted to the education of today's legal issues. Fueled by the public's keen interest in our legal system and current events, CZ is dedicated to the educational venues aimed at enhancing the understanding by all citizens, regardless of age, education, occupation, or wealth.
A function of the Celebrezze Zangi Community Legal Education Project.